While you're watching this video, China already has 6G running in a real city, not in a lab, not in a slide deck, not in some future roadmap. Real streets, real people, real signal in the air above their heads. Meanwhile, in America, still arguing about 5G towers, still debating who gets which frequency. That's not a joke. That's not exaggeration. That is exactly what is happening right now today. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how big this gap really is. So let's get into it. Here's something crazy. 5G was supposed to change everything. Self-driving cars talking to each other. Surgeons controlling robots from across the country. Factories running on wireless commands. That was the promise. That's what they sold you. Now look around. Did any of that actually happen? Not really. Your phone says 5G in the corner, but it feels like 4G with a new label. Why? Because the fast version of 5G barely works in real life. A single tree can block it. A wall can kill the signal completely. Even your own hand wrapped around your phone can weaken it. So most people are stuck using the slow version. A little better than before. Nowhere near what was promised. And while America was still trying to fix that exact problem, China stopped trying to fix it. They skipped the fight completely. They moved on. Here's the part that should actually shock you. By the end of 2025, China had built 5 million 5G towers. That's more towers than every other country on Earth combined. While the US was still debating spectrum policy in Washington, still arguing over rules, China was already pouring concrete and mounting antennas. And once China had that head start, they didn't slow down to enjoy it. They went straight for the next generation. No pause. No victory lap. They went for 6G. This is where the story actually gets interesting. Stick with me here. There's a type of wireless wave called terahertz. Remember that word. It's going to come back later. Terahertz waves can carry an insane amount of data, way more than anything used today. But there's a catch, a big one. These waves are extremely fragile. Humidity in the air weakens them. Walls block them completely. Even a warm, slightly damp afternoon can kill the signal. For decades, researchers in America, Japan, and Europe all tried to use these waves. They all hit the same wall. It became known as the terahertz gap, a dead end nobody could break through. But a research team working in Nanjing didn't walk away from it. They pushed a signal through open air, not in a sealed lab, not under perfect conditions. Real air, real weather, real interference. The result? 206 gigabits per second. That's roughly 20 times faster than the 5G connection on your phone right now. While other countries called this impossible on paper, China just did it in practice. But speed alone isn't the whole story. There's a second piece, and honestly, it might be the bigger one. Every wireless tower today needs separate hardware for every type of signal. Low frequency needs one box, mid frequency needs another, high frequency needs yet another. That means expensive equipment, bulky towers, slow construction timeline. A research team found a way around all of it. They built a tiny chip, just 11 millimeters long, smaller than your fingernail. Instead of processing signals the normal way, with electronics, this chip converts them into light. And light doesn't care what kind of signal it started as. One single chip, 9 different frequency bands, all running on one piece of silicon. That means an entire tower's worth of equipment can shrink down to something you could hold on one finger. Pause and actually think about that for a second. While American companies were still holding meetings about 5G rollout timeline, engineers in China had already solved the hardware problem for 6G. Not planned it, solved it. On April 21, 2026, everything changed. China switched on its first pre-6G network. Live, in the city of Nanjing, 10 base stations, real streets, real weather, real people walking underneath it, most of them not even noticing. Speeds up to 10 times faster than current 5G. But it wasn't just faster internet. It was running things that sound like they belong in a different decade. Drones streaming live video with zero delay. Factory robots responding as fast as a physical cable could ever deliver. Holographic calls. A 3D image of a real person transmitted live standing right in front of you. None of this is a future promise. None of this is a concept video. This exists right now, today, in a real city. While America was still talking about upgrading its 5G infrastructure, China had already switched on 6G. Let's slow down for a second, because numbers alone don't mean much. Imagine a factory floor. Right now, robots on that floor need cables, or they need a delayed wireless signal that's just good enough to move slowly and carefully. Now imagine that same floor running on 6G. Every robot responds instantly. No delay you can even notice. No cables in the way at all. That's not a small upgrade. That completely changes how fast a factory can build things. Now think about a hospital. A surgeon in one city controlling a robotic arm in another city hundreds of miles away. With 5G, that delay could cost a life. With something close to 6G speeds, that delay basically disappears. Now think about something simpler, a video call. Right now, video calls are flat. A screen, a face, nothing more. China's Nanjing network is already testing holographic calls, a 3D version of a real person standing in the room with you, transmitted live. That's not science fiction anymore. That's a feature being tested in a live city today. So when we say China dropped 6G, this is what it actually means. Not a spec sheet, not a press release. Real machines, real hospitals, real calls, working differently than they do anywhere else on Earth right now. And while all of that was happening in Nanjing, American telecom companies were still holding press conferences about expanding 5G coverage in rural areas. That's the actual size of the gap. Not years, not just funding, an entire generation of technology. Now, I'm not going to pretend this is flawless, because it isn't. Terahertz signals can't pass through walls easily. Humidity still weakens them. Covering an entire city properly would need transmitters on almost every building, not just every block. And running that many transmitters nonstop costs a massive amount of electricity. There's also a people problem. Building 6G needs experts in wireless engineering, AI, materials science, and manufacturing, all working together. Even China admits it doesn't have enough of those experts yet. Nobody does. Not one country on Earth has enough of them right now. So no, this story isn't finished. This technology isn't perfect. But here's the uncomfortable part. While other countries are still solving these problems on paper in meetings and proposals, China is solving them out in the open in a real city with real equipment. That gap is the whole story. Behind all of this, China put $485 million in dedicated funding. And once the rest of the world saw Nanjing go live, something shifted. Panic set in quietly. South Korea committed $2 billion just to try and catch up. Japan and the United States teamed up on a $5 billion joint project, not because they were ready, because they were scared of falling behind. The European Union added over $100 million on top of that. Total global spending on 6G research is now above $20 billion. But here's the number that actually matters more than any of that. China holds roughly 40% of all 6G patents filed anywhere in the world. That's more than the US, Japan, Europe, and South Korea combined. Let that sit for a second. When the technical rules of 6G get written, one country will have more say than every other country put together. Every generation of wireless has quietly decided who holds power in the world. 2G gave that power to Europe. 3G and 4G gave it to America. That's literally how Silicon Valley became Silicon Valley. 5G was supposed to continue that same pattern. It didn't. And now with 6G, China isn't just trying to be fast. They're trying to control three things at once. The patents, the chips, the standards. If they succeed, here's what that actually means for you. The rules for how your phone works get written in Beijing. The equipment your country's network runs on gets decided in Beijing. Who gets paid every single time this technology is used anywhere on Earth gets decided in Beijing, not in Washington, not in Brussels, not in your own country's parliament. And in 2027, there's a global meeting called the World Radio Communication Conference. That's where countries divide up the exact spectrum this entire technology depends on. The countries that show up with real results will help shape those rules. The countries that show up with slide decks and proposals will just have to sit there and watch. China didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They just built. While America was still talking about 5G, China quietly skipped straight past it. So the question isn't, will 6G happen? It's already happening. That part is settled. The real question is this: who gets to control it once it's everywhere? Drop your answer in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you think happens next. And if this video actually taught you something you didn't know before, hit like and subscribe right now. Because this story is moving fast and most people watching are going to completely miss it. I'm not going to be one of them. And after this video, neither are you. See you in the next one.